Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Ibrahim Sumare. I am the director of the Statistical Consulting and Research Center. I'm also an assistant professor of statistics. So today we have the first of a three-series workshop where we will walk you through the services that we provide at the Stat Consulting Center, but also we will show you how to do some basic data analysis throughout our three-series workshop on your own. I have with me my two GA assistants at the Consulting Center. I will let them introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for attending this session. My name is Eddie Morgan. I am one of the graduate assistants here at the Statistical Consulting Center. I hold an MBA from St. Cloud State, and I'm currently going for an applied economics degree.
Hi, this is Ravina Khatioda, one of the graduate assistants here in Statistical Department. I am doing my master's in computer science, and I'm looking forward to graduate at the end of this year. Thank you.
So with that further delay, I will have Eddie talk about the services that we provide at the Stat Consulting Center.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Sumare. So one of the services that we provide to our clients is that we help them review surveys before using them for research. So usually when you send us documents in a Word or a PDF format, we review the surveys to make sure that they meet our guidelines, which we will touch more on in subsequent slides before we conduct analyses on them. Also, we assist with creating online surveys on Qualtrics, which is our online survey creating platform. And we also provide assistance with statistical analyses, which is our main goal of the center, to help with statistical analyses. And we use programs such as SPSS, R, SAS, and Minitab. We also help clients interpret their data if they need it, to make sure that they understand some of the meaning behind the statistical work that we do. And the good thing about we rendering services to our clients is that the service is free for SCSU students, faculty, and staff. So the good thing is that they don't have to pay anything towards the services that we render to them. And with that being said, I'll give it back to Dr. Sumare to touch more on IRB requirements.
So for any research that a faculty or student or a staff would like to undertake on campus, they have to make sure that it meets IRB requirement. Any research that involves human subject requires IRB review, the Institutional Review Board. It's a mandatory step. So we highly recommend everyone that comes to our center to check first if their research requires IRB before we can even look at their raw data set, because it's an offense for us to take a data set that has personal information and that is not protected and have that stored on our devices. That's why IRB is so important in any research, to make sure that human subjects are protected. Some research are exempt, but it's, sometimes it looks like it's intuitive, but it might be a little complicated and it will be very complex. At St. Cloud State University, we have a very well-organized IRB team. They're very fast and responsive. The process is very smooth. If you go to the website, the IRB website at St. Cloud State University, here, the process, the first thing to do is to check if IRB approval is needed, right? So in general, research that requires IRB approval, thesis, at the end of the, any research that I would say, any research that involves human subject, right? Whether it's a thesis, whether it's an independent research, and early career grant for a faculty. But also, there is a comprehensive list of research that may not require IRB that is provided on this website here. and you can go through that and see if your research fall under one of these category. And once we have determined that your research requires IRB, then the next step is to prepare for the IRB submission, and that include completing the CTI training, understanding basically what a human subject is and how that is protected. And then there's a list of supporting materials that need to be submitted. And then the protocol also is submitted through this online platform here. It might seem a little, daunting, but actually it's pretty easy and straightforward. I would recommend first checking IRB before coming to us, because that just makes our life easier for all of us. Thank you, and and then we have this simple, I would say, check-in list, questions that we ask just to determine if a certain research requires IRB. And you can see here we have 5 questions, and one of them is, do your research require IRB approval? Yes or no? If yes, have you received an IRB approval? If an IRB approval or exemption is not have not been received, we won't be able to proceed with any data analysis with the STAT Consulting Center. So it's such an important step, and we wish that every researcher is aware of before they come to us. I'll pass on to Wendy.
Thank you, Professor. So now we are going to talk about survey and how we use this step to make a survey good, presentable, and successful. The first thing we keep in mind is to know the objective and goal of the survey that we are going to do. And second one is we have to ask the right question. We pick up the good question that matches the objective of our survey. And then we select the targeted audience as per our goal. And the fourth one is the solicit participation. We make the survey accessible to the participants. We make it easy for the participants to participate in the survey. And after creating the surveys, we test it to verify that it is good, everything is good, it is presentable. And then after getting the responses, we execute and analyze the result and interpret it to the clients. And some of the general tips that we do to make it clear, understandable, and simple is we use simple words, not using double negative words, double barrel words, or complex word like that. And we use simple rating scales. So we will talk about this kind of questions in the next slide. And to make it presentable and easier for the participants to answer the question, we try to remove all the complex words from the survey, and before distributing it to the participants, we finalize it and proofread with the team. And this is the example of double-barreled questions that if we want to know about the customer satisfaction or service delivery, we cannot include it in the same question. That will make confusing for the client, and it will affect the accuracy of the survey. So we don't use double negative words in the survey questions as well, so that we make it accurate and precise result. So thank you. I'd like to hand over it to my colleague Eddie now.
All right, thank you so much, Rabina. So some of the kinds of questions that we create on surveys include multiple choice with no response, fill in the blanks, and it's also important to give clear directions as to the type of responses that you need. So before we create a survey for you on Qualtrics, we always require clients to let us know what the main objective of the survey is. So that way we can create the survey to cater to their requirements. And then another type of question that we have is categories with income with ranges. So example, if you want to know a range of income, you have a slider that will tell you which range of income to select. And then we have a statement with a range of agreement, which we call Likert type rating scale. So Likert type rating scale ranges from strongly agree to strongly disagree. And in the subsequent slides, I will give you a demo of how such questions are created on Qualtrics. We also have open-ended questions where we have statements which allow clients to type in their responses without having to check a multiple choice response or check a Likert scale response. And we also have check all that apply for those who like to select more than one response. So in this slide, we want to make a distinction between what a bad survey is and what a good survey is. So on my left, we have an example of a bad survey. It's a Likert type scale survey. And we have to use 1 through 7 to answer each of the statements that are below. If you look at that survey, it looks like it's not very cohesive. It's not very, it's not easy for the client to understand what the purpose of the survey is. Because although it says 1 is not true, 2 or 3 could also mean the same thing. Right now, 4 says somewhat true. So we don't know what 5 and 6 is. So it would be difficult for the client to kind of use that kind of skill to answer any of the questions. So it's important that when we create a survey, like Rabina said in earlier slides, it should be easily accessible to the clients, and they should be able to understand how to answer responses that will make it easy for them to tackle each of the statements. When we look to the right, we have an example of a good survey. If we look at this, this is very easy to understand. It's easily readable. There are no strings attached. So if a client wants to totally disagree for one of the statements, they can easily do that without having to follow some scheme. And I don't think they are going to have any issues using those responses to answer any of the questions. So that's an example of a good survey, a survey that's easy to understand by the client, that's easily accessible by the clients. That doesn't make it hard for them to decipher the information that's presented on the survey. So on this slide, I'm going to show the audience a demo, logging us into Qualtrics, and then also giving them an example of a sample survey that we created on Qualtrics and how to create some of the questions that I emphasized on in earlier slides. So I'll log in real quick. All right. First off, can anyone see my screen? Okay. So this is a sample survey that we created on Qualtrics. And this survey is intended to get feedback from GAs that have worked at SCRC. So we are going to go through the series of questions that were asked to the graduate assistants to kind of get the experience and how they loved working here as SCRC. So the first one is about, the first few questions are all demographic, are about demographics. So we start with an age range, and in here is a multiple choice type of question. If you want to change the type of question that you want to ask, all you have to do is hover onto the left part of the survey, and then you hit the drop down, and then you can select the kind of the type of question that you want to ask. So for instance, if I wanted to do a text entry, I can enter a text entry. Or if I wanted to do a text graphic, I could do a text graphic. But for now, I'll keep it as a multiple choice question. And we also have gender information. So we have male, female, and other. And then we have race or ethnicity, so that the participant can take which race or ethnicity applies to them. And then we have what is your highest level of education. So they select the degree that applies to them. And then this one is a text entry. So this allows them to, this gives them the freedom to put in their own responses without having to use a multiple choice type response or any other kind of response. So this is like just answer or whatever you feel like. And then how long have you been working at SCLC? They can also answer freely. And then this is the Likert skill type of question that I was talking about. So over here, we have, we are allowing the participant to answer each of these statements from strongly disagree through strongly agree as their range of responses that they can use to answer each of these statements. Sometimes when you create Likert skill type of questions, if you type strongly disagree here, it will automatically fill the rest of the responses for you. Sometimes the responses might not be in accordance with what you were expecting. Sometimes when you type strongly disagree here, it will say somewhat disagree here. And it will give you a series of other responses. So if you want to get the responses that pertain to what you are expecting, just make sure that you do it manually so that way it's easier for you and the readers to also understand when they are answering such types of questions. So if, for instance, if I wanted to answer the first question and say SCLC is a work-friendly environment, I can use strongly disagree here. Or if I say statistics is fun, I can click strongly agree here. And then once you create your survey, it is important to publish it so that the people who you are sharing that information with get access to the survey. So my survey is ready to go. So I'm just going to hit publish here. And then once the survey publishes, you have the freedom to distribute the survey however you want. Usually when you hit the publish button, it will send you a link that we can share with our clients so that they can distribute it to their respondents. So I'll copy the link here and then I will email it to the client. But if I want to distribute the survey in other ways, I can hit distributions here. And it will take a while to load. So these are the options for us to dispatch the survey to our clients. So we have the anonymous link, which will give us the link that will allow us to share it with our clients. So if I copy the survey link here, and then I create a new tab, and then I paste it here, you see that the survey is easily accessible. And the way the survey appears here is the same way the survey is going to appear when you share it with your respondents. So there is no deviations or differences whatsoever. And then we also have emails. So this option will allow us to compose an email directly from Qualtrics instead of copying the link and writing the email in your Outlook. So if I wanted to compose an email here, I can just do this. And then I put the recipient's email address, my subject line, and then my message. And then I can either send a preview email to my supervisor to review it, or I can send in an hour. So I'll hit cancel here. And then we have QR codes. These are for people that want to use their QR scanners on their phones to access the survey. So for those who don't like using computers like myself and like to access things on the run, I usually like to use a QR scanner to scan the barcode so that I can answer the survey on my phone. So what I'll do is that I'll download the QR code and then share it via email. And then anyone that wants to use their phone to fill out the survey can do that. So if you have a smartphone, you have the QR scanner option. You can just hit that and then scan the QR code from your computer or from your email app on your phone, and then the survey will pop up. There's another thing that I forgot to mention. Usually when we share surveys with our clients, the responses come to us because there's always a possibility of our clients wanting to have us run some statistical tests on their data. So if that's the case, it's easier for us to track the responses so that in the event that they want us to analyze the data set, it will be easy for us to access it and run the tests. And with that being said, I will go back to the presentation. And if anyone has any questions, you can feel free to do so. Thank you so much for participating.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for your time.